Hey guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video. The day after Manchester City's very tepid and nervous 1-0 victory over Burnley, but we got the 3 points. That's all that matters. But today I thought I'd take a closer look at 5 things that we learned from the game. But as ever, this video is sponsored by the wonderful people over at OneFootball. Please go and download it, the link in the description below. I promise you, as you can see by the side of me here, it's a really good app with all your news. You can follow individual players and teams and all that kind of stuff. And it's where I heard the news about Manchester City and Rodri and maybe Otamendi leaving and all the transfer news at the moment. I'll be doing a transfer series as well, by the way, over the summer, so make sure you subscribe if you need. But go down to OneFootball. And also, as ever, I want to say thank you to my newest patrons. There's loads of them. Look at all these names. Jamil, Hardy, Sarush, Topias, I hope I pronounced that right, guys. Kieran, Kahir, and Matthew Wright. Thank you very, very much, guys, for your support. Patreon.com/Esteemed Company if you want to get involved and get a shout out and get in the credits for the video. It's only a cup of coffee a month, and that's it. And hopefully one day we'll get to the first tier and be able to do the Patreon podcast series that I've been promising for absolutely ages. Anyway, let's go into the video properly. But also, congratulations to Raheem Sterling. He's won the Young Player of the Year. I mean, I think it's a bit silly, really. He's 24, he's played for England like 50 times and all that kind of stuff. But still, on that list of players there, he definitely deserved it. So it's not his fault that the boundaries are a bit odd. But congratulations to him, and also congratulations on Sterling for winning the Football Writers Award, which is thoroughly deserved. Kind of ironic, given the press have treated him pretty much worse than anyone. Maybe they feel like they need to do the right thing for once. He didn't win the big award, the PFA Player of the Year, but he won 2 others. I'm really, really happy for him. But this game, oh, it was horrible, it was tense, it was nervy. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my match reaction somewhere on the screen right now. Maybe go and watch that video and come back to this one, or watch that one after this where I talked about everyone individually. But that game in itself, it was horrible. It was nervy, it was tense, but it was just about enough in the end. And there was 5 things that I wanted to talk about in particular. That's not to say they're the only things, and I will miss some things, of course, but these are the 5 things that jumped out to me. And firstly, Vincent Kompany. There is life in the old dog just yet, isn't there? I thought yesterday he was very, very good. I'm not saying he was world class or anything like that, but he did show that when it matters, he still is a big game player for Manchester City Football Club, and he still does inspire the team to that solidity. Now, you've got to bear in mind, this is a Burnley team who has main strength in physicality and set pieces, and they got plenty of chances to do that yesterday, but they still didn't have a single shot on target. We marshalled their very effective attack at home very, very well, and were largely trouble-free. Ederson did have to make a save, which is only really testament to how good the defence was, and particularly Vincent Kompany alongside Laporte. Laporte himself has been saying that he learns loads from Kompany. He's great to learn from, and I thought it was really just good to see Kompany once again show that he isn't past it. He's a good player. I know he's not our number 1 maybe, and maybe he is, who knows, and there's been kind of a lot of chops and changes recently, but it's nice to see he can step in and do that. And if Otamendi does leave in the summer, and if we sign a centre-back, or if we don't, if we promote someone like Garcia, I think it does show that Guardiola probably still can trust Kompany to be around next season if he wants to stay. I can't see us really losing 2 centre-backs this summer because, for one, I mean, we've got priorities in other areas of this summer to kind of reinforce, including defensive midfield. We might go for 2, but I just can't see it, which suggests to me maybe Kompany could stay for another season if Otamendi goes. I don't understand if Otamendi goes. I'd be sad because he's a fantastic servant to this club, but it makes sense. But Kompany, he's very good still, isn't he? One guy yesterday who wasn't that great, and I'm not trying to dig him out, I'm just trying to point out how I saw through the game, was Leroy Sane. Now, a lot of people have rightfully been saying, oh, we need to play him. He's fantastic. He's a wonderful world-class talent on his day. He's so, so good. And you know what? You're absolutely right. You're right to say that. I think that we saw yesterday some of the reasons maybe why he's not been starting out wide as much recently. I think it's fair to say if De Bruyne wasn't injured, he probably would have started this game on the bench as well. That's not to say he isn't fantastic. That's not to say everything was his fault yesterday. Of course it wasn't. There was some poor service to him. There was a lack of cohesion in terms of the left-hand side of the pitch with Zinchenko, Sane and Laporte feeding them. It wasn't quite as fluid as it could have been, so that's not all on Sane. But what did disappoint me about Sane yesterday was his kind of general lack of hunger and desire. For a man who hasn't played much recently, I was hoping we'd see him be a lot more aggressive and run at people, try and make things happen. Instead, he spent a lot of time kind of sulking about delivering the service to him. And even though it's understandable, I just wanted a little bit more. Sane is fantastic, but at the moment I think it's fair to see why Guardiola prefers the likes of Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling over him out wide, because they offer a lot more these days at the moment. And that's not to say that Leroy Sane isn't brilliant. He clearly is, but that was a big chance from yesterday to make a bit of a claim. There were some circumstances that didn't go for him, and it's a whole collective thing in general. I don't think he played badly, but I wanted a little bit more for him to really make a point to Guardiola that he shouldn't be left out at the moment. It didn't quite get it though, unfortunately. One guy we definitely got something from though was Sergio Aguero. That man, when it matters, once again stepped up. He was fantastic. That's 20 goals now in 5 back-to-back seasons. No one has ever done that in the Premier League other than Thierry Henry. It shows how phenomenal, how gifted Sergio Aguero is. He's a world-class striker. We're so lucky to have him. And he's just a man for the big moment, the clutch moment when it matters. He worked so hard once again. He's not had many goals recently, but his effort and his tenacity and his hunger and his drive has been absolutely spot on. And finally, he got his goal yesterday. It wasn't one of his best efforts ever. It kind of only got over the line by like 29 millimeters, just under 3 centimeters. But it didn't matter because he earned it. He earned it with his work rate. And that's Aguero for you. I think now he's got 8 goals and 1 assist against the top 6 clubs in the Premier League this season. Hat-tricks against Chelsea, Arsenal. He scored against Liverpool and United. In general, Aguero is just fantastically productive. He's the kind of guy you want to turn to when it really matters, and he never really lets you down. Pep himself has said as well, the guy is a legend. He does all that all the time, scoring important goals. He's an incredible player every time he does it, and I'm delighted. Pep is absolutely spot on. I really dread to think that one day we're going to have to replace Sergio Aguero, because how do we replace him? Gabriel Jesus is fantastic, and I thought he had a good little cameo when he came on yesterday, and maybe given time he can start to show that confidence in his skin as he grows and gets a bit more mature and starts to see the faith in him. Maybe he can start to find that clinicism in front of goal. But as it is, Sergio Aguero is a one-off, something that we'll never ever see again. And replacing someone who's become the club's record goal scorer and has this tendency to score big moments in big games, the ultimate clutch striker, well, I don't really know how it's going to be possible. Thankfully, it isn't up to me to sort that, because I wouldn't know where to start, because, you know, I am not a Manchester City football scout. But Aguero, I would love to see a statue of Aguero outside the Etihad at some point in that infamous pose. How good would that be? I can't think of a more fitting way to honour him, and maybe some of the other legends of the club as well. Aguero could be absolutely essential. We've got 2 more games, Leicester and Brighton, and I'm almost certain if Aguero scores in both of them, we're probably going to win these games, because our defence is very good at the moment. Fingers crossed Aguero can be the guy yet again to fire to another style. Fingers crossed. I also want to talk about someone who doesn't get all the headlines, and it's Ederson. Now, I know he wasn't particularly spectacular in that game. He didn't have loads of saves to make. In fact, he didn't really have any. But there's a few moments that showed recently how important he is to this team. Some big saves when he mattered. And there was a big moment as well when Chris Wood was through and goal, and Ederson was out like a cat. Absolutely lightning quick. And that's Ederson in a nutshell for you. Sam Lee also posted on Twitter yesterday this kind of like long-range shot from Turf Moor. You could see the whole kind of layout when we're taking a goal kick. And it showed because of Ederson's ability, because he can ping it about 90, 100 yards is no problem. It showed how spread out we've made the pitch, and it's also changing the game in the Premier League. Ederson is absolutely fantastic. He's just such a unique keeper, and we're so lucky to have him at the moment. He's also now broken Manchester City's Premier League record for clean sheets. It was Joe Hart who had it with 18. He's on 19 now. Hart had it twice. Ederson equalled it last season, and now he's gone past that. He could even get to 21, fingers crossed. It shows how good Ederson is in this team, how he's growing with stature, and he's only very young. He could easily be a Manchester City for 10 plus years because he's young enough, he's good enough, and I honestly believe he's redefining how keepers should be perceived in this country. I can't begin to imagine the impact he's having on young players across the country, young goalkeepers passing it out the back that would never do such a thing. When I was a keeper as a kid in goal, I remember my instructions just to be boot it long. I was one of those kids who was tiny in goal, basically had no leg strength, so basically some centre-back would kick the ball for me, and that was essentially my contribution to goal kicks. I can imagine now, these days, keepers are passing it out from the back because the Premier League has changed, and Ederson's been a big part of that. He's a fantastic goalkeeper, and he's showing some big saves, some big moments, and he really brings his composure to the defence. And finally, look at that tally. Guardiola keeps talking about the points. Of the 222 points available from this season and last season, we have 192. We're on 92 points already this season. Obviously, we've got the Centurions last year. That is genuinely astonishing. I think the points record total previously, before we broke it last season, was 94 and 95. Either way, one more win and we match or break that. It just shows how we really are raising the bar this season. Guardiola's been basically saying that he's really proud of his team, that regardless what happens this season, he feels like the club have done more than enough and the players have done more than enough to show that they've really tried this season. He said he's so proud of them to get this far. Naturally they want to win because they don't want it to be for nothing, but he still feels like they've earned this. They've earned a right to be called great defenders of the Premier League title either way. And to be honest, if we're being entirely critical, this is probably the best Premier League defence for any team in about a decade. We've really genuinely raised the standard to the point where Liverpool are going to have to probably beat previous points total records to actually win this league. Liverpool could still not win the league with 97 points, which is just absolutely astonishingly crazy. But this is really now the end game, isn't it? To quote Avengers, we have to do whatever it takes. We really have to, because all this surely can't be for nothing, because we've come so far. Just two more games separate us from immortality, and then obviously we've got an FA Cup final as well. It could be a historic season. Guardiola is totally right to defend the team and say, so whatever happens, he's proud of them. He's trying to dampen the expectation of his team, maybe alleviate some pressure, while at the same time focusing them for the challenges ahead. He's right to say that. It'd just be an absolute shame if we didn't get there, because this title race has taken years off me. I'm absolutely exhausted by it mentally, to the point where I can't wait for the bullshit of the transfer rumour mill in the summer to actually give me a bit of a break from it all. Just fingers crossed we can get there. Hey, anyway, guys, that is just my 5 takes on this game. There's loads of other talking points. Could have talked about Laporte. We could have talked about Kyle Walker, who I thought was absolutely excellent through that game. Kyle Walker at the moment is in great form. I'll mention him in another video definitely, but really impressed with his current endeavour. Well, not that he ever lacks endeavour, but he's just energy and his drive, fantastic. Bernardo, simply sensational, as he always is in terms of his work rate, a phenomenal player. And the team's resolve is absolutely spectacular. But guys, that's just 5 things that I learned from this game. What did I miss out? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget as well, if you are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go and check out the video on screen now, which is my match reaction from yesterday. Some more further in-depth thoughts on that game. I was a bit hungover though, sorry about that. I'm still getting over it now. My voice is still a bit croaky. Very, very heavy night on Saturday. Yeah, it happens every now and then. As you get older, it takes a lot longer to get over it, sadly. But anyway, thank you to all these names going down the side of the screen. These are my patrons, my heroes, and I'll see you soon.